Are you on the fence about jumping in or jumping out of this housing market because of just the roller coaster ride that it has been for the last few years? Well, some serious events just went down the last few days that is going to have a significant impact on that decision. Stick with me and let's break it all down. Hey everybody, Mike Evans with Blue Root Properties, broker with eXp Realty. I'm super excited to share some of this information with you. Look, the housing market has been insane for the last 2 years, and everyone is wondering, hey, what is going to happen? We've had rate hikes, we have inventory increases. Is that going to continue? Is it going to get worse? Well, I'm going to give you the numbers and you decide, and I'll give you my opinion, of course, too. So before we dive into the real crux of what this video is about, we need to understand a simple concept, and that is this guy right here. Ooh, that is a home. Now, albeit a little very tiny home for little ants or whatnot. But anyway, it's a home nonetheless under these circumstances. And the more or less of these is the biggest variable that has the most impact on price, concessions, what buyer or seller's market that you hear all the time, essentially supply and demand. So how do we measure how many is out there? Well, it's called inventory. And inventory is a snapshot of basically how many homes do we have on the market today. Well, it's not just that. There's things happening to that timeline all the time. There are homes coming on the market that expands that timeline, and there are homes coming off the market that contracts that timeline. Inventory is a term where we remove the number of homes coming onto the market, and we're just basically saying, if all of a sudden no new homes decide to come on the market today, how long at the rate that homes are going off the market do we have days, weeks, months, years before we run out of inventory? So now that you understand that very important element, we can look at our statistics and something that occurred in the last few months that not necessarily was really talked about. Well, it kind of was talked about, but it was definitely felt out here. In May of 2022, when rate hikes started impacting the housing market, we were at a 0.8 inventory, which is essentially about 3 weeks of inventory. In 2 months, fast forward to July, we jumped to 1.8, so almost a month and 3 weeks of inventory. So we added essentially a month of inventory, doubled our inventory in less than 2 months. That has not been seen in the last 10 years. We have had larger amounts of inventory go onto the market, but from a percentage in 2 months has not been seen in 10 years. Well, so why is that so significant? Well, people saw that increase and felt that increase, and therefore were worried, are worried to come on market. So we have seen listings go down. We've been seeing houses sitting on the market and sellers are freaking out and dropping their prices. And so we were all holding our collective breaths for August to see what was going to happen. Is it going to double again? Is it going to triple? Well, actually, in fact, in August, it went down to 1.6, went down. So why am I making such a big deal over a 1 week reduction in inventory in today's market? Well, it's because if we were trying to get to a balanced market, we have such a long ways to go. We needed every month's numbers to continue to increase in inventory, and we just did not see that. A balanced market where you have appreciation in check. Houses are affordable because there are enough homes out there, enough buyer pool out there that keeps everything on a level playing field. Well, that typically looks like 3 to 6 months of inventory. The last time the west side of the Puget Sound saw 3 months of inventory was not in 2021, not in 2020, not in 2019, not in 2018, not in 2017, not in 2016, not until February of 2015 did we see 3.8 months of inventory. And guess what happened in March of 2015? It went down to 2.8 months of inventory. And we haven't seen or sniffed 3 months of inventory since. western side of Washington is always in this perpetual state of about 5 to 6 weeks of inventory. And what that does, it just continues to keep the housing appreciation a little faster than most places in the country. The state of Washington, on average, sees about 50,000 people coming into the state. Last year, we had 80,000. We do not have the infrastructure, a flat topography. It's undulating, moving, landslides, erosion, volcanoes, earthquakes, wetlands. We just don't have the land to support a rapid amount of growth in our housing market. So we're always going to kind of stay here, which means we are not going to see, unfortunately, a rapid reduction or a tremendous amount of reduction, more so than what we've already seen in the appreciation of these homes. Now, I sound like I'm talking in absolutes, and no one predicted things like COVID would happen or interest rates that would get down to basically free money that was thrown out there. So in the absence of those things, we are not going to see a return to any sort of really true affordable housing in the state of Washington unless something significantly is done as a whole to bring in more housing. And that's going to take a tremendous amount of time. In the meantime, homes are going to continue to appreciate. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, and something horrible or wonderful could happen and change the course of everything. However, in the meantime, there's another huge piece of news that, again, I don't understand why this hasn't been a conversation point. Fannie Mae just came out and forecasted in 2023 the average interest rate is going to be 4.5%. Now that could mean 5%. Some other people might be getting 4%. If that occurs, and with our inventory where it is at, all the people who have been sitting around and waiting on the fence are likely to jump in. And so therefore, if you're one of those waiting and you're trying to time the market, you are likely could be in the middle of what we just went through in 2020, 2021, and a bit of just the beginning of this year, where everybody was selling their firstborn to be able to get a home. Okay, so you've sat through and you've heard my spiel. So what is my recommendation? Well, if you're a buyer and you are going to be in the need within the next year to purchase a home, I would strongly consider searching and buying now if the right house was out there. You can always refinance your rate later on when the interest rates drops, and they likely will. I understand that refi is going to cost you some money, but today you might not have to pay list price. You might get a full inspection and get that roof and water heater, some flooring credits, some closing costs from the seller, and that's probably going to far outweigh the amount it will cost you to buy a new interest rate when you do go to refinance it. Sellers, would you wait until the interest rate dropped before you decide to sell your home? Well, it depends. If you don't need another house after the sale of your current one, then absolutely I would wait, because you're going to undoubtedly make more money when the interest rates drop and if the inventory stays where it is or even drops even further. However, if you do need another house after the sale of this one, you are still going to likely make more money because of those situations, but you're going to be in that environment when you decide to go and buy, which means you're going to have a whole lot of competition, which means a whole lot of offers, which means offering higher than list price, concessions on your inspection, and as well as not expecting anything in return from the seller. So ultimately it could end up being a wash. So contrast that with selling your home today. Inventory is still relatively low. Yes, interest rates are high, but buyers are still out there. Case in point, I sadly and admittedly lost an offer where my buyers went to their max $35,000 above list price. We lost to an offer that was $50,000 above list price. Mind you, this was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, of which was it was a nice area, but it wasn't the most highly desirable area or people rushing in there to want to get in there. But it was a cute home. It had laminate countertops. It was just clean, and it was priced accordingly, and it made people come to the home. Yes, selling your home today will likely be more challenging than it would be if you waited until the interest rate drops. However, it's obviously still happening, and you can still get top dollar for your home Because there's not a lot out there. If you set your home apart from the rest of the competition, you have the potential to make a lot of money in today's market. That is why it's so important that you find a real estate professional who will actually tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, but will tell you the things that are going to deter buyers, that will tell you what the real price of your home should be to be able to drive traffic to your home, and what the realistic expectations on the sale of your home would look like and what the end result may be. So, hey, if you made it through all this, bless your heart, and thank you very much for doing so. Look, if you have any questions about the market today, you think about buying or selling your home out here, please do not hesitate to give me a call, text me, email me. I'd absolutely love to help you out. Guys, gal, Ado, Nolly. So why is it? So why is? So why is a week's worth of inventory so significant? Well, and still today, we have yet to come even close to that number. So state of Washington, we're kind of in a perpetual state of about 1.5 months of inventory because we have, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? I'm trying to work. I love you though.